All right, kicks off.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. We are so excited to welcome you to campus in 31 days, so just over a month. I know you're getting maybe excited, maybe anxious, maybe sad that your baby Bobcat's heading away, but we are hopefully going to answer a bunch of questions for you and make this process a lot more easy to understand and tell you what to expect next. So my name is Kate. I am our Executive Director for Housing and Residential Life here at Texas State, and we're very excited to create a new home for your Bobcats, and I'm joined today.
Hey everybody, my name is Micah. I am one of our program directors here at Texas State University. I help build our move-in process along with Kate. And so we're super excited to chat with you a little bit and make sure you're ready to go for about 30 days from now.
That's right. We are going to go through some slides today and kind of go through things with you. And then at the end, and while we're going throughout, if you have questions, drop them in. We have our lovely staff on the back end too, feeding us some of those questions. So at the end, we'll spend a good chunk of time going through all your individual questions. So, yeah. All right, let's get after it.
Absolutely. Well, we'll start with just some housekeeping items, some things we want to make sure that you have set in stone before we get to move-in day. So you can see one of the first things, you want to make sure that you're able to view your room assignment throughout the housing portal. If you're not quite sure yet, you should be able to have an email in your Bobcat email that should reference you back to the housing portal when you've got your assignment. That'll be the place. You want to know what building you're moving into and make sure your family members or anybody coming to San Marcos to help you move in has that information. Along with that, you want to make sure, if you haven't already, you scheduled that move-in appointment. Those things are live right now, also in our housing portal. As soon as you log in, it should direct you to be able to schedule your move-in appointment. So you want to make sure you go in and have one of those good to go as you get in. As well, you may have seen, if you came to some of our NSO sessions or visit online, we have our awesome move-in guides right here, both physically and digitally. That'll give you some information just about our packing list, some of the pictures and things like that that we'll cover in today. So if you have one at home with you, feel free to pull it out as we're going on through. But really, we'll make sure we cover everything in that guide and give you access to where to find it after that. For our students, we want to make sure you're keeping an eye on that Bobcat Mail. Most importantly, we're going to talk about your time hang tags here. In just a few slides, those are going to be released on August 3rd that we'll talk about. And so that'll be really key to get into our centralized staging lot so you're able to start your move-in process. And so we'll reference back to those. We want to make sure that if you haven't already logged into that Bobcat email, you're set and ready to go so you can get that. And we'll talk about how to get ready for move-in here in a couple slides.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things too on that note, as Micah mentioned, you have your move-in appointment that you're getting ready for. You and your roommate have to make your own individual appointments, right? It's not per room. And so make sure you're both doing those pieces. And for our folks living in Bobcat Village, we're going to talk about how those are different processes. You'll have different information in your Bobcat Mail other than the move-in guide.
Yes, absolutely. But as you can see here within our move-in guide and live online, we have a couple different resources for you all. On the left-hand side there, you can see our packing list. That's a really great resource to make sure, as far as all the items you may need for your bedroom, appliances, bathroom, you're preparing for as you're making your way on in and starting to check those items off your list. On the right-hand side, we have a cool couple resources that we talk about throughout NSO. On the top corner there, you can see some of our live virtual tours. That'll give you really kind of inch by inch throughout the entire room, all the measurements. It's a live 3D tour, so you can see some examples of what your room would look like, those furniture and those things that will already be in the room ready to go, as well as some of our features on the bottom there. So if you want to know the exact size of your bed, height of your desk, and some of those chair pieces in there, you kind of have that in all one place for you. And then as we make our way through, we'll start talking about kind of on your route to move in. So we talk with our students and families, whether you're coming northbound or southbound down that I-35, you can see we'll have a direct exit from Ocarina Springs to Thorpe Lane, and our move-in will start right there on Robbie Lane as we get you in our centralized staging lot at the UFCU Stadium. We talk with families all the time over the course of those 3 days. That obviously if we move just all of our students in just straight to the halls, it would create a little bit of mass chaos and a little bit of traffic jam. And so what we really try to do is make sure everyone comes to our staging lot as one central point in which we'll start being able to process our cars and vehicles and get you straight to your hall. As you'll see in a few slides, that we really create some lanes and close down some of our campus to create some VIP unloading for all of our students and families. And so it's really critical to make sure as you're making your way through, again, this is in our moving guide and on our website live right now, that you'll follow this route on in to make it through. We also make sure to note for folks that you don't want to use your standardized mapping GPS software that you may use on a normal day. like we talk about, we really close down our roads and some of the San Marcos City to make sure we get that VIP experience for our students coming in for move-in. And like we noted as well, and I know Kate mentioned it, but for our folks at Bobcat Village, you'll be able to report right to that building. And so there'll be a separate email that is sent to all of our first-year students living in Bobcat Village of how to navigate directly to those halls. So you'll skip the centralized moving lot and have a VIP experience right there in front of your halls.
That's right.
All right. I know Kate's going to talk a little bit about our hang tag, speaking of.
Yeah, so you will see on August 3rd, and the reason why we're holding that is we're just trying to finish up a few assignments here as we get to the end of our new student orientation sessions this summer. But in your housing portal that Micah mentioned earlier that your student can log into, that's where they've been able to see their housing information and sign up and their assignments. That is also where they will go to find their time hang tag. And so this hang tag will have a time on it, as you can see on the left side of the screen. That is your arrival time. And so you will want to print that out prior to arrival. Remember, there's 2 cars maximum, and so you need 1 for each of the cars so that we know that you're arriving at the correct time to the lot, and our staff and officers can make sure that you're getting in exactly where you need to be. You're going to hang that up in your rearview mirror facing outward so that our lovely staff can see that as you're arriving. And then we will check those before we get you in there. We really tell folks not to arrive more than 15 minutes early. If you do, we will reroute you and hang you out somewhere else, maybe go grab a coffee or a breakfast taco. But that is really because we're trying to concentrate the lot with who is arriving at that time. And my pro tip for folks in remembering the name of the hall, go into your housing portal, find that assignment, and then write it on the back of that tag so that when you show up and you're switching out those tags, which we'll talk about in a minute, we know exactly which building to give you. So you're going to arrive into our lot at move-in with that time hang tag on the left. You're going to roll up to our welcome staff. We'll show you in a moment. And you're going to swap that out for your building hang tag, as you can see on the right. And so you've got Blanco, Castro, Steri, and Cibolo as examples there. And that res hall tag is going to we're going to give that to you. It's color coded to follow that color route, which we'll get into momentarily. But really that is when you checked in, you're at the right time. We're going to swap you out, and now you're holding up and ready to go to the hall next. And so you can scan the QR code on the bottom once you are sitting in that line waiting to get dispatched out to your building, and then I'll show you the route again as you can navigate campus. And so to Micah's point, Waze and Apple and Google Maps, love them, but we have a lot of road closures, and these routes are specifically designed to kind of help get everybody in through the different veins of campus to where they need to go. And so some of the routes and some of the roads are closed or one-way lanes. And so really just follow our wayfinding signage and those color routes that are matching the color hanging up in your rearview mirror there.
Yeah, and I'll also just reemphasize what Kate said about arriving no more than 15 minutes to your actual time slot. We have done the math on the back end and worked with some great engineers to figure out just how many cars that we're able to fit in our centralized staging lot at one time. And so it's super critical, again, to communicate with you and your family members and kind of create that plan if you do come into San Marcos a little bit early, just to make sure, again, we're able to welcome you at the appropriate time, and then those Bobcats come in before and after you as well. So we will have some of our staff members helping check those hand tags and time. So if you do try to get in a little bit early, like I said, we'll direct you to some other places you can hang out with us.
Absolutely. All right, so we have arrived at move-in. So
yeah.
Our first lot is our staging lot. So that is where we're going to have everybody coming in off that Robbie Lane, and you're going to be funneled into these lines, and you can see on the screen there's some delineators that are kind of helping everybody line up, and you're going to go into these lovely tents and big inflatables. This could be a big old party in the lot welcoming you to campus in San Marcos. And so you arrive about maybe 10 minutes early, and you're ready to go. We get you in. Our staff's going to welcome you. They're going to swap your hall tag for you, and you're going to follow the directions from the move-in volunteers. We have tons of staff and faculty across campus that are helping to navigate this day for you, and they're very excited to welcome you to campus. So please listen, follow what they're telling you to do, and you're going to basically kind of like a valve. You're going to move from one lot, get your stuff swapped out, and then move to the next lot, and then onto your residence hall. And so if you think of it kind of like these valves that we're turning off, or if you've ever been to like a lovely theme park, it's got you queued up to kind of make your way across the way.
Yeah.
And so the time appointments that you have, and I know we'll talk about this again because I know that tends to be a source of maybe some anxiety. You have 90 minutes, and that 90 minutes isn't like you have to be in and out of San Marcos in 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. It is from when you get to the lot to when you get to your building is that 90 minutes. And so we will get you through that lot. We're usually clear within that lot within about an hour of getting all 400 or so folks through each appointment time. Like Micah said, we've We've done the math. We've worked with the professional engineers to make sure that we're doing that well, and getting folks over to their buildings so they can unload and then set up their new home on campus.
Yeah, and I'll say we've had some great parents that have timed us through the process as
Yes.
well and given us some great feedback. And so we've really done that good work to really emphasize that we will get you through in that 90-minute window, again, as you come in. And so it's important to make sure you're on time for some of those pieces, but within that 90 minutes, you will be at your hall and unloaded and ready to spend the rest of the day with your Bobcat.
Yeah.
So.
And as you're entering that lot too, if you've got 2 cars with you, which is our maximums, just that's what we've mathed out. Staying together, right? So when you come in, you're going to get into these different lines to check in and get that dorm hang tag, that colored hang tag. And so making sure you're staying together so that we're getting you in those lines together. Yeah. If you get separated out, we'll get you back together, no worries. But really trying to follow each other in that so that you're rolling the right direction.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can see this is what it looks like, obviously in sped up time, but our lovely volunteers are pulling folks. So there's like 14 or 15 lines across. We're gonna get you all staged in to get your hang tags traded out. And then we're gonna dump you over into lot 2, which I'll talk about in a second, and then get you out to the building. And so this is kind of what the flow track it looks like. We go line by line, pulling folks over, and then line by line, pulling folks over as we swap out those tags for the building. So write the name of your dorm on the back of that time hang tag that you have, so that you know what to tell us, and then we'll give you the right tag, and then you'll be ready to go and on your way.
Yeah, I think this is a great example of how you can see we kind of start on lane 1 and we'll work down the line to make sure we're kind of honoring those folks that already came through and have lined up for us. And then we'll restart again at line 1. So if you pull up right as we're releasing cars from that lane and you're pausing for a second, no worries at all. We're going to make sure we get you in on kind of our next route as possible. We just want to make sure we're getting all the cars out in kind of our orderly process that we have built on in there. So don't worry if you don't make it out on the first one. We promise, again, within that 90-minute window, we'll get you kind of all set and on your way.
Yes, and you'll have plenty of time to get set up in the hall and make that new home for your student.
Yes, but as you transition over from lot 1 into lot 2, you can see on our picture here, this is one of our lovely family members from our Brogdon Hall. And so they have that colored hang tag in their window there with that QR code. The QR code will be really critical. We'll show a slide here in a moment, but that's able to route you directly to your hall and give you directions both visually and in writing, so you can make sure to make your way. So this will be super critical as you follow in there. You'll be working with one of our volunteers. We'll get you set up. We really, to Kate's point, want to make sure we're keeping our family members together and our folks in one line. So we're going to group up as many cars for each of our halls as possible. So as we're sending you out, we go together. Again, we also want to reemphasize one more time that especially at this part of the journey, you want to avoid that navigation software. Like we said, we close down some of our roads. We work with our university police department to make sure we're giving you that VIP experience as you're getting right to your hall. So you're right in front of the buildings. Some of the routes may be untraditional to the ways you've maybe seen your building during new student orientation. If you come by campus on a normal day, we'll have some lovely signs, as you'll see here in a minute as well. But you really want to make sure that QR code is a great resource for someone to have on their phone ready to go as you make your way over to campus. I think we have another video here that shows a little bit, yes, just a time lapse as we're getting you out of our lot and directing you right to campus. I'm actually one of the individuals that is out there kind of right where that stop sign is as we're moving around. And so I help work with our lovely volunteer and staff team to make sure we're routing folks to the proper buildings. We have different colored routes we'll show here in a minute. And so we really try to group our families and cars up geographically by our routes to make sure we're sending everybody from that particular neighborhood at a time. So again, make sure you don't get caught up with a different group or a different building. And so you can see as you go through, cars are starting to pull up and we'll kind of hold them back until we get our next vehicles on out. But you can see within about that 30-minute span, we're getting all of those cars actually physically out of our lot. That's when you're heading to the buildings for move-in. You can see here kind of what I was talking about with those colored routes. We have 6 different routes that will take you through campus. And so if you're on the blue route with your blue hang tags, we'll say Blanco, for example, you'll follow this specific route that'll be listed within that QR code going to campus as well. And so again, what's really critical, we make sure we group our buildings and folks by color. So you make sure the person behind you and in front of you are all going to the same general location. That's what we've learned has helped our parents and families and students over the years to really make sure that they're getting to the hall as quickly as possible in an easy fashion. And we always love our brave families and students who are the first person in line, who are the ones kind of leading the charge over to the halls and routes. So we'll make sure you'll be talking and working with some of our volunteers and staff to make sure you kind of know where you're going and heading from there. But this is really kind of the big process that we have laid out just to make sure we can get everybody on campus.
Yeah. And I think it's helpful to know too, when you're looking at how we're dispatching out from that second lot out to the buildings, where we're going to release those by lanes, and each of those lanes is a different building. So if a lane goes before you and say maybe you rolled up first, but that lane's going first, it's intentional because some of our West Campus buildings might be a little larger, or they take a little longer to get to, as you can see from this giant map, right? The blue lot's going a little further than maybe the pink one is. And so it's not cutting in line or anything. They're not even going to the same place you're going. And so it really is trusting the process. There's a method to the madness. As you can see from this, we've got those 6 different veins that we're coming into campus. And we do that specifically and through that engineering piece to make sure that we're not overloading one road versus the other, right? We can't send all over 9,000 students all up the same road because then that just creates one big old long line. And so it is intentionally done and shifted in a way. And so I promise you'll get there. You'll have plenty of time to set up and make memories with your student on campus.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do hold you in that one line at our lot, but again, that's to make sure as you're navigating campus and get to your hall, again, you shouldn't be able to wait in a line. You should be right to your unloading. So again, we do intentionally hold and transition our cars there a little bit differently than just immediately releasing you. That's just to make sure we can guarantee you that spot right up at the hall. And we have walkie-talkies, so we're talking all over campus with our different hall group members. So as soon as they're ready for more cars, we're kind of sending them out. So it's a large team effort to make sure that your hall is ready for you as you arrive on in during the day.
Yes. So as we are now making our way to the hall and you're following all these signs, so you'll see some of the signs pictured here. We've also ordered some extra big tall ones that are about 8 feet tall to really try to help folks navigate. If you think of our lovely Buc-ee's and how they draw you along the way, that's kind of the idea, is these wayfinding signs will get you to where you need to go. Again, that QR code on your phone or on the hang tag that's on your rearview mirror there will take you and show you exactly that route. It'll connect immediately to that route. You can also have your move-in guide with you. And we'll also show you a couple other map options that you can pull up. So if you want to do that, you know, kind of practice in your brain, do your practice run through at dawn before we get going, totally fine. But that is what we want you to follow, and you'll see signs along the way, still in the color, matching those colors, so you can see, right? The Sterry has this pink salamander color, and that's also what color the sign is. So it's really intended to be, even if you missed the letters on it, you knew it was the same color as the hang tag, and so you're on the right track. Keep going. And so to Micah's point too, when you get to your building, and we'll talk about what it's like to arrive, like there's a certain number of spots there, so that's why we release you in that way. So yeah, you can go on. And so we've done some excellent work this year to add in our move-in routes onto our main Texas State app, our main Texas State campus map, rather. So if you go on the campus map now on your phone and you pull that up, similar to where it has football routes or parking information or academic buildings, there's a whole section that says move-in routes, and it'll pull those color routes down as well, and you can pull them down by color route. So you can go in and see, oh, I'm going to be in Laurel Hall, and this is the route that I'm going to follow, and you can have that pulled up. So there's multiple ways you can have that ready to go and kind of walk through that with your students and whoever's driving the second car behind you, to make sure that you're both on the same page and you're following the leader and getting to where you need to go. But you can kind of see how that stretches across campus. It's on our move-in page as well on our website. But yeah, just having all those resources ready to go at your fingertips so that you feel comfortable and confident as you journey out into the streets.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've tested these things on phones and different devices as well, just to make sure they're compatible with everything. It's a little bit smaller on the screen on that top picture on the left-hand side, but you can see we've even written out the directions. So if you're someone that really just wants to follow the street signs along with everything as well, we've kind of give you turn by turn, step by step, where to be able to go. So a little bit easier to navigate on your phone as you get there. Definitely something helpful to pull up before you've started your journey, or to have kind of ready to go as you're waiting in our lot to be dispatched, just to make sure, again, if you're going to Blanco Hall, you kind of have those turns and are ready for it.
Absolutely. Old school MapQuest printout directions, right?
Yes, but you can see as you arrive to the hall, you'll be greeted by some of our student staff and professional staff members there to be able to start getting you set in your hall. Typically what we say is, for our students, as you arrive, you want to get out the car and head right into our building. You'll see some of our lovely resident assistants and staff that'll get you checked in. They'll give you a room key to make sure you have access to your room and your whole building, along with some of our other critical items that you need as far as our contact lists, our desk, and some of our other pieces. Usually our family members are helping them to start unloading our items out of the car. You can see on that bottom left-hand picture, we'll have move-in boxes we try to work to make sure we have one move-in box for every single student that's moving in per shift. And so our family members are able to help unload some of those pieces. You can see we give everybody 15 minutes of that kind of right in front of your building time to unload. And so you really want to make it a priority as that student's checking in and grabbing the key, that those things are unloaded from the vehicle to be able to do some of those pieces. You want to always make sure someone's with your car at all times, just to make sure it doesn't go unattended as we go through. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but once you have unloaded everything from your vehicle, you should keep someone with your items, and then you'll have the opportunity to park that car permanently. Once you're able to do that, you'll have the rest of the afternoon to unpack and unwind, but we want to be able to honor and give every single one of our students those 15-minute unloading zone pieces. So our staff will help make sure we're keeping those lines moving and make sure you have that box to get all your items out and into.
Yep. So while you're waiting in the lot, in that lot 2, waiting for your turn, this is what, right, part of that process is you roll up, get your stuff out, get it in that bin, your student gets their key, you're moving that car while they're moving it up to the building, and you're coming back and getting everything unloaded. And that opens up that space so we can get the next group of cars out from the lot at the stadium over to the building. So it's this kind of sequencing of domino impacts.
Yeah, absolutely.
As the big Bobcat community on moving day.
And I know 15 minutes may feel like a short amount of time. I think the feedback we got from some of our family members every single time is like, wow, the ability they're able to get those things out of their car, especially with the carts, has helped really maximize that. We've had families that have made record time of doing that within 5 to 7 minutes. And so, again, you just want to make sure you're prepared to be able to move your items as best you can. And again, our staff will be able to work with you and support you to make sure you're getting those things up and down. Some of our buildings have different stair, elevator, different pieces as well. So we have all the resources that you need with our staff right at the halls to make sure you have the time that you need to unload and get everything ready to go.
Beautiful. All right, so we are there. We've got our stuff in the room, and we are ready to set up all those beautiful decorations, unpack and relax. Once you've relocated your car out of that unloading zone into some longer term parking, which is also represented on those maps in the Texas State campus map and our move-in guides, come on back, and you have unlimited time at that point really to hang with your student and get things set up, make the bed, put the stuffies on there, right? Figure out how you want to make that home for them so that they feel comfortable, warm, and welcome here on campus. If you need to, once you get there and say you're heading out, okay, we're going to go out and grab lunch, totally fine. You won't be able to pull back in front of the building, right? So McDonald's lunch isn't going to be an unloading zone situation. We're going to take that building tag from you once you roll up. That's not a parking permit. That's just your unloading piece to let you into campus. And then you'll park, and then you'll have to park out again and walk on back over to the building. So keep that in mind in terms of what you're planning. If you're planning some pickup from a local store or whatever, you want to go grab some food, you won't be able to pull right back up in front of the building. You'll have to be at one of those satellite lots, just because moving's still going on all weekend long as we're welcoming, all of our first year students in.
Absolutely. And what we do for all of those satellite lots is we'll have a bus transit running pretty similarly. If you've been here for a Bobcat Day or any of our other experiences, it'll run pretty much from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. every single night. So no worries at all. If you do park in one of those further satellite lots, we'll have a bus that's routing pretty much nonstop to make sure we get you back as close to your hall as possible. So that's a resource we continue to provide for our families and students, just to make sure we can get you back to the hall as quick as possible.
Yes, and move-in will wrap up around 5:30ish, 6 o'clock. Each of those evenings, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so later in the evening, you want to come back and drop something off, totally fine, right? But those cars and everything will have to be out of the way first thing in the next morning so that we can use that space to unload. So you will see some of those lots kind of roped off in the evening. So again, we can make sure the next day is ready to have the same experience that you had the day before.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see here as well, we work with our sustainability office here at Texas State. And so we'll have a couple different resources for you as you're starting to break down all those TV boxes, those new refrigerators, and all those lovely items. And so you'll see we'll have some larger roll-off bins. We'll have some of our trash compactors across all of our halls that we'll get some signage for, just to make sure you have all those resources as you're unpacking and kind of where to put those items. We do make sure, and we'll have some of our staff going around kind of throughout the move-in day and really in the afternoon and evening hours, just to make sure we're not having a pile of trash or items, belongings kind of out in the hall. We want to make sure we're keeping your items safe and some of those different pieces as we're being sustainable and getting rid of the trash. Like I said, so we can keep those halls ready for our folks coming in next and our community members that'll be on the halls and floors and building with you. So absolutely, great resource there.
All right, so you have made it home, Bobcat. And as we move through move-in that weekend, we will start up our welcome week. And so another great website resource is if you just text TXST Welcome Week, it'll show you some of those great signature events, when and where they are. And so if your student maybe is a little bit nervous about how they're going to make friends or get connected, There's so many opportunities that first week right away at different sizes and levels for them to have some pathways to engagement on campus. Our RA staff in the buildings will be gathering groups to go to all these events. They'll be taking their floors to them so they have at least a buddy to go with. And so get to know those RAs right away. You'll get some handouts right when you check into that explains what is an RA, which is those peer leaders on the floor. We also in every building have a professional staff member called a residence director. They will be in the buildings. They actually live in our communities too and support some on-call operations and save some of that important information. Maybe you take a quick snapshot and then you paste that to the back of the door so your student knows who to call or who to reach out to if they're having any issues. Getting connected to the internet or getting their Roku TV set up or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
They'll meet the front desk staff while they're checking in. That's who's going to be giving them keys. And so they'll see those service desks within our communities and just really encourage your students to get involved. Enjoy those welcome events. That is part of getting them, engaged and excited about campus and meeting some of those friends. Take a little tour that week before classes start to figure out your path of how long is it going to take me to walk from my dorm to this class, right? So they know what time they need to wake up in the morning to get over to that. And so Welcome Week is really an exciting time. Lots of spirit, lots of free shirts and food and fun for them really to immerse themselves. They've made it here. You've done a great job, parents, is getting your students ready for school and getting them excited. And you can see from these pictures just how excited all of our team is to welcome everybody here and have a great new experience on campus.
Yeah, it's a big deal coming to campus and starting your college journey. And so we want to make sure all of our department and staff is really ready and excited to make sure we get you to those different events. So everything from navigating class to kind of just doing the day-to-day of where do you go to do your laundry and connected to the Wi-Fi will kind of help you all the ways with all the things. So we're super excited for that. And then as we're starting to wind down a little bit, some different pieces for us, we want to follow you along your Texas State journey as well as you make it through move-in. So as you're going through and setting up that room, make sure you tag us on social media at that TXST Housing on Instagram. I want you to showcase your journey through our UFCU Stadium to see how it goes. Again, as you're meeting your roommates and showing off your decorations of your room, I think that's the fun part for us.
Absolutely.
As we're going through the 3 days, and we'll still be out on the lot welcoming all of our students to campus. It's awesome to see the folks starting to check in and set up their rooms. Again, some of the elaborate rooms that we see over the course of the move-in days are awesome. And so big kudos to all the dads and other folks out there that are coming with the power tools and helping get their stuff built and set up. It's definitely a super exciting time. So make sure you share that along with us. Our student staff members and everybody in the hall will be on socials and active as well as we'll welcome you to campus. So great opportunity for us to just hear a little bit from you and the things that you're doing on your moving journey as well.
Yeah, and you'll see some really great photo opportunities in the lobbies of your halls. President Danvers will be rolling around too. Feel free to tag him. He loves to repost all the excitement and energy, right? Our halls, we spend, all year long and in the summers, we're like kind of getting everything ready for folks to move in. And so it really breathes life in the campus once y'all get here. And so we want to be able to be a part of that and enjoy that and see the excitement that you and your students have to be at Texas State Bobcat.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, with that, those are all the formal pieces that we have as far as our presentation. I know Abby's been doing a great job in the background being able to knock out and answer a few questions. It looks like we have a larger question here for everyone of just asking about where do you park after you unload and kind of the process with the permit of what that looks like. Do you want to talk a little bit about kind of our parking permits?
Yeah. So as I'm sure you all have seen, we did some changes to our parking structure where we really tried to better align with our neighborhoods that we use in our community areas, where we try to start, our hall with this is your floor, this is your hall, now this is your neighborhood that you're a part of, to really kind of continue to expand their social network on campus. And so we worked with our university police department who manages parking to align those permit zones with our neighborhood zones. Very common at schools of this size. And so it really helps to kind of connect folks in. And so once you are done unloading, there will be on the map, like what is the closest kind of long-term parking site to you. While we're in that weekend in residential zones, you will need to have a permit at that point. And so there are some further out lots for visitors and pieces and folks to park in. And that's why Micah mentioned that shuttle service that'll be routing through there. Our real, our focus that weekend is really to have everybody here and welcoming folks here. And so we want to make sure that you're parking where you need to be going. And so looking at that campus map to figure out what's the closest lot or garage that I need to get to for my stuff that day until I'm heading back home or heading back to the hotel if you're staying for an extra night.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we'll have plenty of parking and availability in some of our surface lots as well. So if you do happen to make it a little bit further to campus, we've pretty much been able to always accommodate all of our family members and students that want to be able to park and make their way on through. So make sure, again, if you park a little bit further, you'll use that shuttle and make your way on back. But yes, you want to make sure you have that parking permit as you're rolling up and starting your journey to make sure that you get in the right place. And again, especially with moving and all the things that are happening, you don't want to forget about it as you're getting to that Wednesday or Thursday of classes. So definitely start knocking out those permits sooner than later. All right, and we'll continue answering any questions y'all have. So you want to continue dropping those in the Q&A. We'll continue to live answer.
And this does get recorded. It'll end up on we have a whole TXST Housing YouTube page that has, lots of really great resources, not just us here talking to you about move-in.
Yeah, we had a question about what move-in looks like for apartments and if they need hang tags.
Yeah. So for our apartments, whether you are a first-year student in Bobcat Village or you're coming back to campus that Sunday evening and Monday for your move-in time, apartment students will go straight to the apartment communities. There is a time hang tag in the housing portal that'll go up on August 3rd as well. And so you will print out that time hang tag. And that's just for our staff to know, yep, you're supposed to be here at this time and this day. And so you will go straight to it. Our balconies and cypress apartments for our returning students have parking garages within them. So you go into the parking garage, get your stuff set, and then you'll head in through the lobby, through the courtyards, get your key, and then you can start unloading. And so parking garage, I would go to whatever floor you're on. That'll be the easiest move to move your stuff and roll it over. Yep. There are carts there. And then in Bobcat Village, it is one large lot. And so to Micah's point earlier, whether you're a first-year student or you're an upper division student coming back to Bobcat Village, you go straight there, park yourself in one of the perimeter spaces, head into the building 2, which is the main office, get your key and do the same thing and head over to your building. And we'll be sending out some specific information to our upper division students too, as we get a little bit closer to the end of the month, once those hang tags are coming up with those, like, here's the address, here's the information, and here's a map of that complex so that you kind of know what building you're going to be in and how to get to it the easiest for your move-in experience. But yes, you'll go straight there. You need the time hang tag, but you won't come to the lot to get a building hang tag. So that whole pretty color hang tag, you don't need that. You got VIP access. Go straight to the apartment complex and get yourself your key.
Yeah, you'll see as you start moving into either balconies or cypress, especially, that with our larger parking garages there, we're able to accommodate pretty much every single car during their check-in time throughout. That's where you'll normally park throughout the academic year as well. And so again, we've worked with our partners over in our parking services just to make sure we have all the needed lots and spaces for our folks. So to Kate's point, you'll just roll right up to that parking garage. You'll be greeted by our staff very similarly to our folks in our first-year communities as well, to be able to help get you processed, your key, and all those different things as well. But yeah, you just pull up right to the building. Someone's a little bit easier.
Yeah. And you will need a parking permit for those garages. There's an apartment permit neighborhood piece too, to make sure that you're having that when you're parking in that garage for the academic year, if you're leaving a car here.
Great question. Keep the questions coming, folks, and we'll continue to answer with our remaining time as we're wrapping up here.
Sure. So reassignments. So our reassignments, and that could be for building, roommate, just whichever. We are going to close that request process up on the 24th. So that's next Friday. So we're trying to really get that through to the end of our new student orientation sessions, which will end at the end of next week, which is in part why those time hang tags won't come out until August 3rd in your portal, so that we can finish up any of those little pieces and squirrel away all those extra little changes. And so by that point, you should know really, yes, we were able to meet it, or no, we weren't at this point. And I do want to say, and I've been chatting, if you've seen me at a parent panel during your orientation session this summer, if a reassignment isn't able to happen before you move in, it's okay. I promise it'll be lovely. You're going to have a great time at Welcome Week. Our room change process opens about 12th day of classes, so a couple weeks after school's here, and we know who actually showed up and who's here and what spaces we have. Students can again then resubmit for a room change if that's something they're looking for. And then based on availability, we work through that. So it's not this is it, you can never, shuffle again. You might decide, oh, I, made a friend and they're over here and they have a space and someone didn't show up and that's where I want to go. And so you can do that at that point, and you'll get some emails about that. But we'd really try to keep the times the same for you, but we'll work with you on an individual basis if you need to change that time. Now that if you have a reassignment request or something happened, we keep a few extra times kind of squirreled away in case we need to make some magic happen for folks.
Yeah,
so I would say end of July, you'll if you haven't gotten a reassignment at that point, you should plan for this is where you're going to be, and that's the time that you're going to have that you signed up for.
Yeah, absolutely. We got another great question just to clarify a little bit about the process for our Bobcat Village and if they're going to the UFCU Stadium. So no, our Bobcat Village students, again, whether you're a returning student or a first-year student, you're skipping the UFCU Stadium. We're going to send you a different email on that August the 3rd with giving you a little bit more specific instructions of, again, how to get right over to Bobcat Village. You can see it's pretty close. We're literally right across the street from the stadium with our Bobcat Village apartments. So you'll be able to turn right on into that community. We have a whole map provided in that email as well to show you exactly where our front office is, so you can start getting your key and those different items is there. As you go to our Bobcat Village or you look on our website, we have a large parking areas with the way our buildings are processed. We kind of have it in a large clock-esque shape, and so you're able to, once you get that key, pull up a little bit closer to your actual physical building. This is a great example that Abby has on the screen for us. And so it kind of goes around clockwise depending on the number of building that you're in. So if you're in Bobcat Village, you'll need to know your assignment. It should have your room number on there as well that will coincide to one of these buildings.
Yeah, your building number will be the first number and then the room number. So if it's 04105, you're going to be in building 4, room 105. And so you can take a look at that on there. And you can go through that on our website. It'll show you Bobcat Village and what to expect and what those room numbers mean and how to send mail there. But we'll give you different directions on how to navigate yourself to Bobcat Village so that you're not getting stuck in all the move-in stuff for the lot. You're going to go straight to that parking lot for your actual apartment complex.
Yeah, as you can see, there's plenty of parking kind of all throughout the complex as well. So if you're in that building 4, you have plenty of space to pull right up into your hall to be able to start doing that process as well. So we've never really had any kind of problems with our folks being able to get in and get as close as they want to their actual assigned building. So you should be able to just head right on over to Bobcat Village.
Yeah, so the question is, are you able to kind of come back the next day? You absolutely can, right? If your student is like, yes, let's come back. We were able to find what we needed at Target and get it over there. Perfectly fine. Again, you just won't be able to drive straight up to that building, right? You'll have to kind of walk in or shuttle over to the building. Your ability to be part of that unloading zone ends with your particular 90-minute window on that day and time. Because we have, other Bobcats coming in those other times. And so unless you're coming in after like 7 at night, to do some of that, great. But the next day you're welcome to come back and do what you need to do. As long as you're not rolling your car straight up to the front of that, or not expecting, I should say, to roll your car right up in front of the building at that point. Other folks are in the unloading zones, and so you'll have to shuttle over. But yeah.
You'll see we'll have that move-in experience again for those 3 days, that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so really try to, again, make sure that we're locking down our halls and those unloading zones during that time. So whenever your time is to move in, we make sure we got that ready to go when you're right in front of the building as well. So really make sure we get that locked in for you.
And our Welcome Week events really kick off that Sunday evening. And so all of our first-year students, regardless of where they're living, will have their first floor meeting that Sunday evening at 7:30. And then at the end of that floor meeting, they will roll over to Jumpstart, which really kicks off Welcome Week and everything. So figuring out your kind of kissing goodbye moment on Sunday evening, that is time for your Bobcat to go out and make some new friends and learn campus.
Yeah. I have a question about early arrivals and what should they anticipate and kind of what does that process look like? Yeah, so for our early arrivals, again, if you're coming in on that Thursday for us, again, you'll be able to skip the line at the UFCU Stadium. We'll have our staff, because there's only 2 time slots for that Thursday. So you either signed up for a 2 or a 3:30 p.m. You'll be able to report straight to your hall. We'll already start putting out some of those unloading zone pieces as well. So as you roll up, you'll see those different things and staff already out there ready to greet you. So the big exciting part about doing that Thursday is you get to skip a little bit of the line. You'll move in with a little bit calmer. You'll have generally about the same time frame to move in, if not a little bit more, to be able to get some of those things unsettled. You can follow still some of our routes and maps as you're coming in to campus. Those will still be the same as our normal larger move-in days, but really it's a great process to be able to skip the line and get right on into your halls. We'll have the move-in boxes for you available as well, and all the same standard things that you'll get during our 3 normal days of move-in, but it'll give you just a little bit more time outside of the large move-in days to unpack, relax, get everything kind of settled.
Yeah, and that's part of why that has a fee with it, right? Is that you're coming early, you're bypassing some of the big, pomp and circumstance of the lot or the stadium, but you're able to get right to the building. You still have that 90-minute window to get there, get yourself unloaded, and move out of the way because there is those 2 appointments there. If you are even earlier than that because you're with a group, strutters or athletics or band or some of that, that information will come directly from the leaders of those organizations. We work with them on certain windows of time to get everybody checked in. Our staff's here. And so you'll go straight to the buildings for those too. So if you're part of one of those particular groups that has an even earlier arrival because you're getting ready to kick us off for the Pac-12 season, which we love and we're so excited about, you'll get that information from those leaders of those coaches or whatever programs that you're participating in. But it will also look like you go straight to the building.
Yeah.
Really, unless you're coming in that Friday, Saturday, Sunday to a res hall, you're going to go straight to the building. Otherwise, you are coming through the lot just to manage all those 9,000 folks coming in at the same time.
Yeah, and you'll see right now, if you log on to your housing portal, there are still early arrival time slots that we have open for that Thursday. Again, they're a 2 p.m. and 3:30 slot. Even if you've already signed up for a move-in time, we're still able to accommodate you and get you in on an early arrival. If you have additional questions about the early arrival process or just want to talk about it a little bit more, you're welcome to call our office during our office hours. You'll be able to chat with one of our housing ambassadors or staff members just to help make sure you have all those logistics taken care of. But again, if an early arrival sounds like something that's interesting to you and you want to do it with a little bit less stress and folks around campus, there's still plenty of time to be able to sign up for that appointment.
Yes, and you'll have your time hang tag in your portal that is like, yes, Kate is an early arrival and approved to be here at 2 o'clock on Thursday. So.
Yes, we got another great question about what happens once you have got into your building, if you lock yourself out, if you lose your key during move-in, what does that look like? You'll see in all of our residential hall communities and our apartments, we'll have a dedicated front desk with some of our desk assistant and student staff members there. They're able to help. We have plenty of spare keys for folks that get locked out or lose our key that we're able to issue over to you to make sure you have access to your room in your building. That'll be open pretty much starting from 7 a.m. all the way to 10 p.m. on all of our days of move-in to help assist. We'll also have, again, some contact numbers for those after hours, and once our desk closes of who you'll contact, we have our resident assistants and a couple other of our staff members that Kate mentioned earlier that live in the hall, and their job is to make sure we're really supporting you with everything from lockouts, again, to just kind of navigating the building or some of those other pieces as well. So you'll meet some of those humans within your first day of coming to campus and settling in for move-in, but you have some of those resources of who to call when I get locked out, if I can't find my Bobcat ID, if I need help going to the laundry room, and some of those different pieces. And so you'll have that pretty much from the moment you move in and check in with us.
Yeah. And the Bobcat ID is the ID card that they're going to get during their NSO is super important to have like at the ready. So that's maybe a thing you're putting in your pocket when you're in the move-in car. You want to be digging for that because you're going to need that to check into your hall to get your key. So that's your ID card. It also is what accesses the building. Of course, the doors will be green lit while we're doing move-in because we're not trying to have everybody have to swipe in and open a door during move-in with the carts. But once we get, after the last appointment of the day, the doors will lock as part of our security measures. There's a second level into the hallways. And so that Bobcat card is what gives them access once they're checked in to get into those spaces. So if they lose their Bobcat card or their key, the front desk is their first stop. And there's a big old sign on every exterior door about the night desk that will assist after hours. The front desk closes at 10. So it's open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And so after those hours, if something happens, I misplace a thing, I was at the river and, things are now part of San Marcos, right? Super fun, great time. That front desk or that night desk after hours will be who they call, and they will send a staff member over to assist them at that point.
Yeah, obviously our students live with us 24/7, and so we're 24/7 operation as well. So regardless of the time or issue that you have, you're able to call some of those numbers around the community. We'll make sure to get a staff member that can assist you. All right, folks, we'll take just another minute or two. Any last minute questions, if you want to pop them on in, we'll just be here for a few more minutes as we wrap on up. So any last minute questions, feel free to drop them on in.
And I will say, as someone who's done about 20 some on move-in days, it's a lot, right? It's not like it's cool and breezy and, cold weather in Texas in August. And so make sure you have a full gas tank, you've got water, some snacks, some pieces to kind of maybe make some of those heightened emotions as you're struggling to want to do all the things. And there's some, shedding a tear here and there because this is your baby. Right. And so, prepare yourself, make sure y'all have what you need, but really try to take in the day and enjoy the memories of that, right? Part of what's cool about our process coming through the football stadium is that you're immediately immersed in all the amazing pieces. Like I said earlier, we joined the Pac-12 not a couple weeks ago. And so there's going to be tons of added pieces out there, some athletic posters so you know what to expect. Maybe planning that, volleyball game to come back and go to with your student, or when your alma maters are heading up here. And so, really just have a good time and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I know it's easier said than done, but we want to make sure you have fun during the process as well, right? We try to make sure that lot and that experience where you're coming with us is as welcoming as possible, right? We want to show you our Bobcat pride from the moment in which you start with us in the stadium all the way until you get to your halls. You'll see there'll be plenty of opportunities to do photos with your student, do a couple different things as you're in our halls. We really kick them on out to make it a big, we want to roll out the red carpet for you, or the maroon and gold carpet as we're making our way on it. So again, there'll be those opportunities to have fun and to hang out with us. But I think to Kate's point, you want to do all those personal wellness things that you need as well. Make sure you have those waters, those snacks. Depending on where you're coming from throughout Texas or even out of state, it can be a longer journey. And so we want to make sure we're help supporting you throughout.
And parking pass as a guest during move. That's a great question. If you need a temporary parking pass as a guest during move-in, I think as long as you're not in one of those green residential lots, you're okay. And that's some of those lots we've identified for those longer term pieces. Those green residential lots or whatever color they're going to be by those BOCO neighborhood residential lots, those are the ones that are going to be heavily enforced. And that's because, right, they renegotiated this whole neighborhood piece so that students weren't trying to hunt and peck parking spaces, right? They're guaranteed a space in the lot that they purchase. So as long as you're out of those, there are some leniencies in terms of guest parking in other areas. And so those are the lots we've tried to really identify that our shuttles will be dropping off at. So there's some near the stadium, there's some, different parts on campus and different garages in terms of where campus is located. And so those will be identified in those. In terms of you being able to park through that weekend. Now, once we get into Monday or things like that, then we're back and like the university's open for business. And so there's some restrictions at that point. There will be some new signage too at parking that I know they're working on with this new stuff. And so that'll be very clear of where you can and can't be and what you need. You certainly could do a guest pass if you wanted to, but I think there's options enough to where you're not having to worry about that weekend.
Yeah, and we work with our team over in parking our entire university. They're all ready and excited for you to come on campus as well. So we work as a collective team just to make sure that they all know that you're ready to go, and then we'll have an influx of some guests and folks on campus with us. So shouldn't have to worry about that too much. But again, to Kate's point, as we're starting to roll into the end of move-in weekend and really get to that Monday, if you are staying for any longer than that, you want to make sure you get that guest pass secured.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's about the last question that we had. So again, if you have any, great questions. If you have any further questions for us at this point, or again, anything else that's super specific to maybe your assignment, your hall, your route, you're welcome to contact us at our housing office. Or again, or shoot an email through that Bobcat email address that you have. We work with one of our lovely staff members or student workers that we have to make sure we're getting you all those pieces that you need. So if you think of anything after you're looking at our lovely move-in guides, you're going over the presentation, feel free to let us know. After we're done with this recording, we're going to post this on our Facebook page so you have access. So if you're like, oh, I want to rewind back to this part and this awesome thing that Kate said, you have the opportunity to be able to do that and kind of go through as many times as you like. So if you missed something from the presentation, don't worry about it at all. You have access to have the video kind of play back as much as you need.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, enjoy your summer. Happy packing. And we'll see you in about a month on campus.
Yes. Thank you all so much for your time.